Good afternoon, good day, Poker Face. What's up, Asminoff or Asmoff? Lycos, good evening. OGT, good day. What's up, everyone? I hope everybody's week is going well, and happy Friday. Good afternoon, Mr. Arrow. How are we doing today?
Happy Friday. Can you hear me?
Yeah, clear.
Perfect.
Will you be able to record this? I do want to make sure this gets recorded as well.
I just fired up OBS and I think it's working. I did a couple tests before, but it seems good. We'll see.
Okay, perfect. All right, so we got some people in here now. I'm going to hand over the mic to Arrow. We have a conversation that we need to get into today. I will let Arrow break it down and introduce what we will be talking about during this student stage.
Yeah, thanks. I'm just trying to get my screen shared just to make sure this is working properly. Can everybody see like a Microsoft Edge, whatever this is called, trade the plan screen?
Yeah, it looks good on my end. It looks
Okay,
like the chat is saying yes as well.
perfect. I will turn this on then. All right. Well, happy Friday, everybody. Thank you for popping over and checking out the student stage. It's going to be a little bit different. I'm not going to like go through my experience or anything really about trading per se. I mean, it all definitely does loop back into that. But maybe 6 months ago, I started a what I call a 2190, and I didn't make that up. I just have been calling it that because somewhere on the internet I stumbled across a 2190 saying that was 21 days forms a habit and 90 days creates a lifestyle. And I was watching a couple different people just like their Instagram reels. And again, nothing to do with trading, just everything about mindset. Because I took a step back and realized like, the unicorn model works. There's a million strategies that work, but the operator, as Matt always says, is like the deciding factor on if you're going to make it or not, and how you handle, discipline and just respecting your own word, really. So I was really just kind of testing myself and working on myself. So I created three things that I wanted to do for 21 days and form a habit, and then 90 days to just cement that. And I guess thinking about it now, it was longer than 6 months because I did it through the end of 2023. So like cutting right through the holiday season is kind of what I wanted to test myself with. And the three things I did were to work out for 30 minutes every single day. It didn't have to be like lifting weights or something to where I was going to be physically exhausted for 90 days straight. It could just be like a 30-minute jog or a 30-minute walk around the block with my family. Like I just had to commit to something for 30 minutes being physically active, which is totally attainable for anybody, right? So like it was something that like I could achieve. Um, the other one was no alcohol, and I'm not a big drinker at all. But going through all the holidays, and I work at a large investment bank, and we're taking clients out and doing things, and not that it's temptation, but like when you have a challenge in place or your words on the line to just cave and say, well, this is work related, or it's Christmas. Like those are things that like I really wanted to put to the test and make sure like I could do what I said I was going to do outside of trading, and then I would have that to take back to trading to say, hey, I've done this before and I can do it again now in a trading environment. And then what the heck was the last one? No junk food. So again, cutting through the holiday season, there's cookies and pastries everywhere, and I eat pretty good most of the time, but I definitely have a sweet tooth when I want. So those three things were what I chose to do. And 21 days was not hard, but like the hardest part. And then after that, it just was like it get late at night, and it would be weird if I hadn't worked out. Um, or hadn't well, if I hadn't worked out at that point, like, cause like the drinking and the snacks is just whatever, right? Like you just said you were gonna do it, so don't do it. But working out was something that became weird as time went on to where I wasn't doing it. Like it almost the script had flipped and it wasn't forcing myself to go. It was like, why am I not there? So I wanted to bring that now to trading because I've been in, both discords for since, well, I've been in the Unicorn University since day one. I've been in the other Discord for a couple months before that. So call it the past 6 to 8 months or whatever it's been. And I've seen like a real common theme with a lot of people. And I'm by no means judging or by no means perfect. And I'm very early in my journey as well. But everything I'm seeing, like it's, people who just joined, sure, they don't understand what the breaker is and a lot of the different concepts, but that's just like experience. There's no excuse. Like you just put in the time and you'll get there. But the mental side and FOMO, revenge trading, deviating from your plan, over leveraging, taking 20 trades a day when you say you're going to take one or two, switching time frames, like all those things are just it's a lack of impulse control and there's no discipline. So I thought if we bring 2190 to the Discord and make a way to keep everybody accountable mentally, like naturally results should follow that. And it's not about like being perfect or you fall like people are going to fall off the wagon, but it's like how quickly do you get back on and what do you do after that? Just like when you take a loss in trading, it's going to happen 100 times over the next however many years you're trading, right? Like you can't avoid that, but you can positively fall forward. And I think that's the same thing with the 2190. So I built this notion. I shared the link. I will do this as well. So everybody can edit it. I'll put this here. So I put it in the Discord, and you could go into this, and everybody who's already joined will have a section built out for themselves. So I'll use myself as an example because I've put mine in there. I don't know if like other people have started it yet. So when you click on yourself under the playbook, this is just your trade plan. You don't have to make an aesthetic looking graphic or anything crazy. Like you can just like type in here and put it down, or you can bring a Word document in. It doesn't really matter. You just go ahead and click over here and you can add pretty much anything you'd want, an image, a file, or like I said, you can just text in here or type. And this is just to keep everybody accountable. So what I wanted to do with this is for 21 days, if everybody can just, we'll start Monday. So what is it, the 19th? If we put everyone who wants to participate puts their playbook in here, and you're in the chat posting that you only trade the 5 minute, and we're seeing 1 minute executions, and I come in and it's like, this is nowhere on your trade plan. Like clearly you're breaking a rule. So it's just a way to have something physical in front of you that you can see every day, because a lot of people don't even have this written down, is what I'm finding out. So have a physical plan in front of you that you're going to follow. It doesn't have to even be in here. Stick it on your desk or your computer, whatever. But if you're going to do the challenge, put it in here, and then you're accountable to everybody. You're going to have 20 eyes or 200 eyes or however many people want to do this. You're going to have eyeballs on it. And it's no longer about you and sweeping stuff under the rug when you take a stupid trade. Because in 6 months, if you do that a couple times here, a couple times there, it's like sneaking cookies. Like you're lying to yourself first and foremost. In a weird way, you're letting down your loved ones or whatever your why is and why you're even trading in the first place. You're just breaking your own character. And there's no reason for that. And I think the best way to do that is just to be as transparent and as honest as possible and to put it out there and have other people call you on your BS. So that's the playbook section. The journal, I tried to share this. So like I left my last trade I took in here because there's a template that I built out. So, I only trade the New York AM session, but if you have others, you just put them in here. You can put what pairs you trade, what time frames you trade, And then I just type in, I'll look at TradingView and find my arrows, and it's like, okay, when did I get in? When did I get out? I track the time, if it's a profit, and then I just slap the trade in here. You can come down and put notes in and whatever, like if you followed your rules, or add more to this, but I just keep this very simple because I do like a weekly report where I get a lot more in depth on my analysis, like pre and post market. But I tried to get this so it would copy over, but I had a couple people like Kim Vesco working with me to see if this was editable before this call, and we couldn't get my journal to copy over. So last night I went through, and I think he updated his. So I created a new journal for everybody inside of here. So no matter who you click on, oh, I guess I didn't finish him. Okay, it didn't save. I'll redo that after the call, so scratch that. But I put a new journal in here for everybody. So, well, this one worked. So all you would do would be click on the day and punch in the trade. But the problem is, it didn't copy my stuff over. So last night, Kim Vesco was telling me that he just had to go in and add his own stuff. So I'll be around to answer questions if you need help with any of this, but it's pretty simple. You literally just like click a plus sign and add whatever you want to put in here. So I think in a way it didn't exactly work out how I wanted, but it's good because you can customize this now however you want. And it's just a simple, easy public journal. And instead of having one channel where, I tried doing this in like my personal thread in the premium group, and it just gets, not in a bad way, but it gets flooded with like hundreds of messages. And if you try to find something, or even just me trying to like keep track of like, who's sneaking the cookies and who's not, it's really hard. So if we put it all in one spot and you want to participate in this, I'm going to be on you like stink on shit. And I think everybody else who's participating in this will as well. So you don't need to use this as your only journal. And if you want to just keep this very simple, just to keep you accountable, I think that would be the whole purpose of this. And then the last piece of this is progress. And this is just a link I built out. Can you guys still see if I switch to this new tab? It should be 2190 like in a Google Sheet.
Yeah,
Okay,
we're able to
perfect.
see it.
Okay, so this is just a silly graphic, right? Like putting the spotlight on you, like if you're going to participate. And then there's the 21-day mark, which is the stage one, right? Like build the habit. And then there's the 90-day. And I'm not going to build this out until everybody who passes the 21-day makes it to the 90. So, baby steps. But the point of this is we start on 8/19, and this is just a way you can go in here. It's all editable. I'll add your name in or whatever if you want to participate, and you follow all your rules. You just check the box. And at the end of the market or a couple hours after the market, I'll pull this up and I'm just going to screenshot this. So like Chili and Trader, like a couple of these people, I think some of them were on vacation, but this was just a preliminary week. I'm just going to screenshot it and tag you and call you out because you said you were going to do this. Do it. And if you're not going to, then frankly, as blunt as I can put this, I don't think you're ready to trade. If you can't control the simplest emotions and telling yourself, saying you're going to do something and not following through on something so basic as just checking in once a day, it might require a step back. And I'm not telling anybody, like I said, I'm in no place to judge, but I think having someone just kind of confront you to your face and call you a little bit on some of the stuff is like, I think it's only going to help us. And likewise to me, I mean, I'm going to be participating in this. I'm not perfect. So I hope to use this for my own advantage as well. But those are the three main pieces of this. I'll take some questions and we can go through any of it, but that's like the crux of it. That
So,
is Asia and London, AL.
some quick key points that I wanted to highlight again. It's the accountability here is extremely important. This is a very lonely business, right? There's nobody looking over your shoulder. There's nobody that feels the P&L because it's only your results, and there's nobody there holding your hand during the time of. So you do have to lock in to whether it's an accountability partner an accountability system or something that can build the discipline. Because, it might be okay for you to sit there and say, hey, I won't journal today. I'm a little tired or something. But when you have somebody, patting you on the back saying, hey, dude, like, let's go. What are we doing here? It's going to bring a sense of accountability that we really need in this business. And through that, it's going to build the systems that we need to carry out this business, which is discipline. So he said it once already, but I'm going to say it again. If you can't do something as simple as journal every single day, then what makes you think you're going to pass a prop firm account? What makes you think that you should even be a profitable trader if your actions don't even align with your words? Going through a system like this, and thank you, Arrow, for creating this and bringing it up, it's something extremely valuable because now the accountability is not on your own, but you now have other people looking over your shoulder saying, you said you weren't going to trade the 1 minute chart. That was not part of your game plan. Why did you execute on the 1 minute chart today? You said you were only going to execute on the 5 minute chart. It's another layer of discipline that gets implemented having that accountability.
Yeah, I totally agree. And I think it worked like when I did it outside of trading. And it was one of the best things I think I ever did. And it just sounds so simple and easy out of the gate. But um, there's definitely like uphill battles and things you got to face and you realize about yourself. Like the emotions are real. And when they just continuously, I mean, a lot of the times you might feel some guilt about it, but a lot of the times, if you're used to doing it, you're not really even realizing it. It's like the subconscious is almost taken over and you're just, you might take 4, 5, 6 trades, whatever, and you could even end up green. But like you didn't follow your plan. And it's like, okay, in a year from now or 5 years from now, like what's the goal? How are you ever gonna have any data to measure your success against unless every day you're just kind of shooting from the hip and you're just the best cowboy in history. But that's, like I said, I'm in the industry and that's just not how anyone who has any success handles anything, frankly. So I think we just need to approach it with a different mindset. And I think a challenge like this where you're gonna be called out on BS is valuable. Um, and I think in the first, this is only the first week, we just kind of rolled it out and got some stuff going. There's been a lot of like change already in a couple people that I've seen. They're posting like from the lows, right? And like having a tough time and sharing their experiences. And we're talking about, like I said, FOMO, revenge trading. Those are like the two huge ones. Um, just needing to get into a trade every day or seeing other people doing something and just like abandoning your plan, jumping ship, getting in that trade. Well, the thing's already moved and it's not even what that original person's goal or objective was anymore because it's been completed. You're FOMOing in, and then price reverses on you. And if you would have just stuck to your plan and had some discipline, you would have got your setup or at least an opportunity at it, or just avoided putting capital at risk unnecessarily. So I think those are just some important things that I've seen a lot of. I'm scrolling through just trying to see if there's any other like good points or things I wanted to point out regarding this.
This does bring up something I want to point out. This business truly is 80% in the mind. Like, you cannot win the battle on the chart if you can't win the battle in the mind. And the hard part about that is there's a lot of times where you get favorable results that create bad habits. So, for example, when you break your plan, but you have a winning trade, you're going to sit there and you're going to be happy because you made money, even though you broke your plan. That's the hard part in this business, is realizing what creates good habits versus what does not create good habits, because the outcome of the trade is completely up to probabilities. You can completely not adhere to your plan and you can have a winning trade. That's going to build very bad habits. And there was a good quote that Arrow stated in the premium server, like, if you do something bad but it came out to a good result, so you're happy about it, like, would you still think about, like, if you would go to your loved one, would you go to your wife and tell her that bad thing you just did? And even if you did, how would you explain it when she's like, well, why the hell did you do that? The point to the conversation is creating a plan and sticking to it. Is that discipline in life is going to go much further than a reward on something you shouldn't have done.
Yeah, I think admitting things too. Like I won't share who it is, but I'll read a couple or a little bit of like this post. Um, this was a few days after we started this whole thing, and someone said, "I was tempted to not provide a report today. My emotions were on a rampage. I went on a tilt, over leveraged, revenge traded, making a small loss bigger. Did not follow my trade plan. The list goes on. One major thing I have to learn is contentment. I really did not have to take multiple trades. Quote, I lost track of the number of times I clicked a button, even when Matt said we shouldn't." So, like, if that's all going on in your head, on top of like all the complexities that trading just brings naturally, like no one can sustain that. That's a lot. Um, but putting it out, and that's what I said to this person. I said, just putting that out there is like that weight getting lifted off your chest. Like, no longer is that like in your head and you're thinking like all these negative thoughts, and then you're going to go into the next trade remembering like, I had no control on the last one, and it's just going to be this dirty snowball. But just throwing that out there and letting other people see that, and having other people to one, that's like, embarrassing to have to do that, right? Like I'm guilty of that as well, but to have to admit that you failed and you let yourself down above anything else, like doesn't matter if it's trading, it could be anything. Nobody likes to like let themselves down, but I don't think there's enough emphasis on what we're really doing when we're letting ourselves down. And it's sad, right? Like, but putting that out there is so important because now this person's not sweeping it under the rug. They're admitting it. They're like looking at that guilt and that ugliness, right? There's other people who now know they made that mistake. Like, no way is this person going to want to post that same thing again and just be spiraling out of control in public. So they're going to be more reserved, more controlled. But even just admitting that publicly, I think, is just like the biggest step that 99% of people probably never even do. And I'm super excited to see how this person does over the next 90 days because they've already started and the ball's rolling. And there's just dozens of these already. And it's cool to see everybody like rallying around each other too and sharing experiences, not just similar like on the negative side, but like what they did to overcome it or how they fixed it. So that's just another huge positive from this whole 2190, I think.
And that's the thing.
Um,
That's the thing too, though. It's like doing something that's hard is usually what everybody shies away from. But discipline is built by doing something you don't want to do, but you do it anyways because you know it's good for you. So I don't think many of us are professional losers. Nobody likes to lose, but that doesn't get you out of journaling. That doesn't get you out of documenting your trade and reflecting on how you felt during the time of, even though you don't want to do it because you're overly sour that you just lost money. Doing something you don't want to do, even though it's what you should be doing, is how you build the discipline.
yeah, totally. Um, this is just the graphic doesn't matter, but like the words I think are important. And I shared this on Twitter, but there's like a couple themes I wanted to go into the whole 2190 with. And after the first week of, well, the first 6 months, right, of like watching people's behaviors and the common themes I'm seeing across everyone who's associated to Matt by some extension, like these couple things are like the hurdle that's stopping everyone from like being profitable or being consistent, or people will go on hot streaks and be getting payouts and things look great, and then you find out a couple weeks later that they're in this big drawdown, and it's like, whoa, whoa, whoa. So there's just not enough like transparency. So that's the first part, and accountability. But then there's like just ignoring everybody else's bullshit, really, is the only like blunt way to say it. And it comes down to like just stepping back and thinking about what we're doing and what trading really is, and consistency. One Now you might not take one trade, but if you took one trade and it went 2R in a single month, you're going to be better than 95, maybe more than that, portfolio managers on the planet. I mean, that's like seems so silly and so dumb to say like 2% a month, because on the internet and what you see, and I won't name any names, but people on Twitter every day, they're putting $1,000 gains up or $10,000 gains, and they're making millions of dollars a month, but you don't really see into any of it, right? Like what's really going on or how much risk is being put on the table to even do something like that. And it's just creating this like false narrative around what's really happening, because there is nobody putting up these kind of percentages consistently anywhere in the world that I'm seeing from some people on Twitter. Like if they were, they'd be working at some of the top hedge funds getting paid hundreds of millions of dollars a year. And they're not. They're on Twitter posting it. So there's something to that. And I think having the consistency and realizing that, I know we all want to pass challenges and get payouts, and but the main thing should be to build a system and something that's consistent and repeatable. Because once you have that skill set, all you have to do is slide in on the back end some capital, whether that's through prop firms or your own money from trading or friends and family or outside people. Like it just becomes a game of getting capital. But if you have a track record to do that, it's the easiest thing in the world. Getting $10 million is like blinking in finance. It's nothing. But if you are able to get 2% a month, that's it. So that's why I sit there and like I didn't take a trade all week, because there just wasn't anything that like met my criteria and followed my plan. And sure, I marked out like dozens of 1 minute entries and all kinds of opportunity. Matt called out, I don't know how many this week live. There's so much opportunity, but it's not about that. It's about having the consistency and having the plan month over month and quarter over quarter that's going to keep you in the game long term. Um, Another one is the FOMO slash revenge trading. And if we stop thinking about this as trading and think about it as a business, like it doesn't, I put an electrical bill in this example, but it doesn't matter what it is, right? Like you could own a donut shop, and every time you got to pay for the boxes and you get a bill that, there's 10,000 cardboard boxes coming in, like you're not like screaming and lighting your hair on fire and like buying a whole bunch of other crap just because you have a bill or an expense come through. That's the same thing as a loss. Like it's a business expense. So unless you're going to go crazy in a normal situation when your heating and electric bill comes in every month at your house and you freak out and start buying everything in sight, like there's no need to do that in trading. It really is like black and white. It makes no sense to me when you just think about it from a simple perspective like that. And then the last one's character. And I see this all the time, and it's just letting yourself down and the people around you. And we've hit on this enough today, so I won't get into it, but it's just such a simple thing of like, if you say you're going to do it, then just do it. And I don't know how to like really help someone control that, but I think the 2190 is at least putting you in a spotlight and giving us a really good shot at trying to see like where the disconnect is and why it's happening. So I think those three things, and if anyone has anything else, like feel free to throw it in the chat, like if there's other things you're struggling with. But if it's mechanical, meaning like something model related, that's just a repetition, or like that's fixable, that's teachable. But the other stuff on the mental side, Like that's what really needs to get dug into and put out there and put some gas on and light it on fire and let everybody see it instead of sweeping it under the rug and thinking like, eh.
I think the misinformation on the social medias really hit home. I really do wish that people would understand how valuable it is to have a plan, to have a model, to follow it, instead of always falling into the impulsions of wanting to keep up with the media or thinking that you could do something that somebody else does. When in reality, you don't know if that's photoshopped. You don't know where that picture came from. You don't know what they're doing. You don't even know if they're paper trading. So for there to be any kind of emotional response within the individual to say, hey, I can go out and make a $5,000 trade. I can go out and make $20,000 today. It's misinformation. It's misleading. It's marketing is what it is. And people, they don't want to hear the truth. That's the worst part about it. They're going to still go and try it anyways. And when they get burnt, they're not going to come back. Which sucks because in reality, having this discipline and doing what you say you're going to do is going to go much further in life outside of finances. Like just being a better human in general is going to go much further in life than falling into these impulsions. We don't even have to be talking about finances or trading. Like if you were impulsive every time your loved one came at you with some kind of contradiction, it sounds like that's going to be a really hard relation to have. We're not sitting here saying like that we're robots and that we don't have any kind of, emotions or mental responses. But for this business specifically, leave them outside the office. And when you're in the office, it should be like you're suiting up for the Super Bowl. You have to come ready to play every single day or don't even step in the office. And it starts with having this discipline. It starts with carrying out your plan. It starts with aligning your actions with your words. And that's why I'm very grateful that Arrow is doing this. It's a feature in the premium server that is going way beyond trading. That it's helping so many people in so many other aspects of life.
Hey Matt, do you know if I like pull up a video and share that, like will that capture the sound or is that not possible? Like will everybody be able to hear that?
If you have the screen, like for the live stream, I don't know if you pressed on the
I did the
application
whole
or the
screen, yeah.
screen. If it's on the same screen that you pressed on the start stream with, it should, yes.
Okay, let me see if I can find this real quick. So I think sometimes it just comes down to like how you prepare too going into a session. And I have this thing that I stole from Kobe Bryant. His is like the Halloween theme song. So like Freddie, was it? No, it's Jason. Sorry. He wears this mask, and he calls it like I guess the mask is like the void of emotion. It makes like this guy like a stone cold killer. And I haven't really seen the whole thing. Like it was when I'm 30, so like this was popular like when I was really little. And I definitely wasn't allowed to watch that. But I guess the mask is like a void of all emotion. So Kobe Bryant, like arguably one of the best, basketball players ever. Before like he's Kobe Bryant, like husband, dad, friend, businessman. But then when it's like right before he goes, comes from the locker room and goes out on the court, he's listening to the Halloween theme song, which is just this creepy like background music. And he's remembering and starting to get in that persona of like, hey, now I'm not Kobe the dad or the father or the friend anymore. Like I'm Kobe, the killer basketball player. And everything he's done up until this point has led him to this. And he flips a switch, and kind of like how people expedited evals, you can't trade your funded account like that. It's the same thing. Like, you have to have that switch that can go on and off. And I think that's super critical. And if someone like Kobe does it and applied it to his craft, like I stole that and I've been applying it to trading. And Jimmy, who's not here right now, he's over in Australia. I was talking to him about this because he said a big thing he struggles with is distractions while trading. And like, he's so willing to help people all the time, like in the Discord, and his phone lights up and what's going on. And so those type of things, like, I'm not saying like ignore everything, right? We have families and emergencies and stuff. So like, that comes first. But when you're trading, like, you should just be trading. And for me, it's war paint. And it's the dorkiest thing ever. If, like, when I'm in the office trading and people are looking at me, they're probably like, this guy lost his mind. But I'm like, a can of like hair gel, basically. Look, like, I fake like I have something like that in my hand, and I put my fingers in it, and I kind of like how Tom Brady has those little black like marks under his eyes when he steps on the field. Like, I'm putting on fake war paint, and that's like my mask, or like my Kobe Bryant moment of, hey, now I'm Arrow the trader, and like nothing else matters. And from the time the market opens until my kill zone ends, like, that's focus time, and that's like where I'm hunting, and I have to be a killer. And having structure like that ties into like the whole kind of thing, right? Because if you're just kind of loosey goosey and you're not taking it seriously, you wouldn't be doing that if you were playing an actual sport, or if you were doing something else for your boss. Or so it's about keeping this as real and as um, business related and as structured as possible. Let me see if I can find this now. Sorry for the delay, everybody. Okay.
Confidence.
Could you hear that?
Yes.
Okay.
Confidence comes from preparation. So when the game's on the line, I'm not asking myself to do something that I haven't done thousands of times before, right? So when I prepare, I know what I'm capable of doing, I know what I'm comfortable doing, and I know what I'm not comfortable doing. Right? And so in those moments, if it looks like I'm ice cold or not nervous, it's because I've done it thousands of times before. So what's one more time? Confidence comes from preparation.
So that's like my pre-trading ritual that I watch every morning. And it's just so true. It's like, you're never gonna be worried about taking a trade or doing something that, as long as you're following your plan, you're taking that off of you, the trader, and you're putting it on the trade plan. And that's moving a ton of weight off of you and throwing it on something that doesn't have emotion or doesn't have feelings, right? Like a trade plan. And as long as you're following that plan, and you've done this, 100 or a dozen or 1,000 times, like wherever your experience level is, like shooting a basketball, he's done it a million times. When he goes out there and there's 2 seconds left and it's the championship game, like, it's no different than shooting a ball in his backyard. Like, he knows how to do it. He's done it a million times. And I think just keeping things like that in your pocket when you're trading are also extremely important. Last one here, and then I'll
If you're a content
stop playing videos. Sorry.
creator looking to elevate your videos, this is for you. Motion Array is the ultimate creative
But I just
marketplace
think
with millions.
I think these are super important, so I wanted to share them.
Sometimes we are so worried about what other people think about us. It's like, oh my gosh, what if they think I'm crazy? What if they think I'm over obsessive or competitive? And what if this is like, you're too much? This is just not healthy for you to be thinking this way, right?
Yeah.
How did you get your mindset into this alter ego to be comfortable being Black Mamba? Like, how did that happen?
It's a good separation for me, emotionally, to be able to put myself in a place where at practice or when I'm training or during games, I switch my mind to something else. I switch my mode into something else, right? For me, it's the equivalent of Maximus Decimus Meridius in Gladiator picking up the dirt, smelling the dirt. It's go time, right? So that was my mental switch. It was like an actor getting ready for a film. You got to put yourself in that cage. When you're in that cage, you are that character. And then when you leave there, it's something completely different. But when I'm in that cage, bro, don't fucking touch me. Don't talk to me. Just leave me alone. There used to be certain games, like, for like certain key games. I don't think I've ever said this before. This kind of makes me seem very psychotic, but whatever. I used to play the Halloween theme song over and over and over in my headphones.
Pre-game. Seriously.
Seriously. And it was important that it was Michael Myers because the mask itself was void of emotion. Void of emotion. It has
That's
nothing to do with
psychotic at the
pressure,
highest
has nothing
level.
to do with hype, has nothing to do with camaraderie. It's stone cold killer. And I would listen to that song over and over and over to get, that's when you know you better run, because
That's what a lot of people did.
yeah,
It's like coming out. You know,
it's
the
gonna be a
eyes
tough
tell the
night.
story.
Yeah.
So, a lot of these things could just be, cheesy or basic or, yeah, I'll get to that. But like, this is coming from one of the greatest players on the planet. And you look at it doesn't have to be sports, but like, look around the other leagues. I mean, Tiger Woods, same story. Michael Jordan, same thing. Tom Brady. I mean, everyone who's at the top of their game, there's portfolio managers all around the industry. Like, they all have their weird rituals and their weird things that, yeah, they're humans, right? Like all of us, but they do certain things that we don't, and they do it consistently. One of them's like meditating. So I've recently got a Muse. It's like a headset, and I do 10 minutes. You just zone out and just trying to stay as calm as I can. And because I know that the little teeny things and the silly stuff I'm doing over the long run is, it's how you get fit, right? And if you want to get fit, you put a little bit in for a long time, and that's consistency. And with trading, it's the same thing. But talk is cheap, and I think doing a challenge like this with other people, or even if you don't like other people, just do it by yourself. But like, just be honest with yourself and hold yourself accountable. And that's the whole point of this. Is just I my own opinion. I don't think enough of us are doing this, and it's just not something I see anywhere. And it's, I mean, someone even said it in here, like, the audience today is small compared to what it normally is, right? Like, it's not sexy when you're not talking about showing a trade or flashy things, right? Like, the O line doesn't get enough credit, the wide receivers do. But without the O line, they're not catching the ball. So the blocking and tackling every day is my only focus. Tiny, I'm coming back to yours. Were you asking me that question about risk management? If that was directed for me, I don't really care. I watch ES and I watch NQ, like the micros. I mean the mini, sorry. Because there's definitely a discrepancy in, like, sometimes there'll be a fair value gap on the mini, but it's not on the micro. So like, if you're only watching the micro, it's like a synthetic copy of the real thing, right? So, and all of it's a synthetic copy of the SPX if you're talking about ES. So it's the further that like goes down the phone line or whatever that old saying is, like, I don't want to be a part of that. I do trade the micros, but I'm always watching the mini because that's like true price. And I just kind of make sure that, like, the only thing I really care about is the stop. Like, so I'll just make sure that I'm putting I won't just put it directly under like a swing low, right? Of like, or directly under the breaker on a micro. I'll kind of look at the mini and see where that price is at, and I'll make sure that on the micro chart, it's matches the mini from like a dollar or a numbers perspective, if that makes sense. And then I do 1% per trade. So for my cash accounts or for funded accounts, like, I just risk 1%. Which I know some people don't like going that high because it doesn't give you as many shots. Like, if you have 2,500 in drawdown, you're not getting as many shots at it. But like, I know statistically I have over a 60% win rate for X amount of months that like to me, it just, that's just what I do. Yeah, Kim Vesco, he does. I watched something on Tiger and it was a complete game changer. Like I always liked him and just thought he was good, but until you really like learn about his past and like how he got to where he is, it changed everything. And this is gonna, maybe I'm sharing too much, but like one of the most inspirational things for me, believe it or not, was Paris Hilton. And I'll probably catch a lot of heat for that. But if you don't know anything about her or haven't like actually looked into her like you would like Tiger or Tom Brady or somebody, do it. Like it'll blow your mind. I think I'll post it later, but I'm pretty sure it was on Netflix. She is incredible and she's like one of the best business women on the planet. And like she essentially like built the Kardashians too. Like they modeled everything off of her. But when she goes out in public and this whole little flashy little like blonde Paris Hilton, like who the media and everyone thinks she is, it's all like an act. And then she'll like get off script and like go back to her car or whatever she's doing, and she's got like a different voice and she's just like this killer businesswoman, and she's like had her vision set on being a billionaire like her whole life, and she's going after that, and she's probably done it at this point. But everybody who is something for the most part, unless it's luck, has some kind of structure, some kind of plan, or focuses on the mental side of things, and is honest and open. And like whether you hate them or not, the Kardashians, like their life's out there for the public and they're killing it, and they can learn from all of that, and they're not hiding anything, and that translates to trading. Like, so that's that's everything I got. I can't really like share too much about this because we haven't started yet, but we're gonna get it kicked off on Monday. Please, I think like I built out a 2190 channel, like a group channel in the premium server, but just DM me as well if you want to be a part of this because I don't want to miss anybody. And over the weekend, I'll build out everybody a section. And that way, over the weekend, I can answer any last minute questions or whatever before we get going, because I don't want like day one starts and you're worrying about something stupid like this when you need to be focused on your plan. So if you're going to do this, I'd make it a goal to get everything going and get it done, call it Saturday night. Like Sunday, just rest and get ready for Monday. But if it carries over to Sunday, like whatever, just if you're going to do this, get it done. Don't wait till the last second. Just like start it now, because it's like anything else, right? So I'll wait around and see if there's any other questions, but that's all I had. I'll keep blabbing while I'm waiting for someone to type, but I think, like I said, I was flat this week and I didn't care because that was just the plan, right? Like nothing presented that allowed me to FOMO or take anything silly, or like I don't do that. So this week was flat. Last week I had a great week. Last month I had an amazing month. So it's, there's going to be red weeks, there's going to be flat weeks, there's going to be green weeks, but none of it matters. It's just blips on the radar. And as long as you're following the plan, it's always process over profits. um, I did tweak some of it. Yeah. I mean, I would never like go out there and start naming my model the arrowhead or whatever, right? Like without giving Matt all the credit, because I stumbled across him 6 or 8 months ago, or however long it's been, just on YouTube, and saw some probably the same stuff everybody saw. T Trades put him on, and that got a lot of visibility. His YouTube was incredible, and it was like I honestly thought he was like a 50-year-old guy, the way he approached the markets, and I wanted that in my life because I'm very analytical. I have to be at my job, and I'm very disciplined outside of this business trading. But I had been in other groups and other things, because in my industry there are quants and there are technical guys, but like they're $1 billion books and they're managed differently, right? Like it's not day trading, but like this is my passion. Like I love finance, but this is my passion. But I didn't have a model. I wasn't, I was just jumping around like everybody else, and then stumbling across him and seeing how he could just ignore the noise and do everything I do in my life as is, but just apply it here. really struck a chord with me, and how calm and like just the way he carried himself, and just it came back to the discipline for me. And I knew that he was going to be a long-term success and someone I needed to like get close to and latch on to, because the people you're around, it's true. Like, you know, you see and talk to Matt every single day. You might be going on a little tilt of your own, but somebody like that brings you back. And you start building enough people like that, like what's going on in the premium, and it's powerful. And other people don't want to be making dumb mistakes and don't want to be going against people who are extremely disciplined and putting 100% into one thing instead of spreading themselves thin, trying to be a beast at everything. So to answer the question, yeah, I didn't. I mean, I even changed my chart colors to match him. Like, I just absolutely copied him from top to bottom. I talked like him. I did everything to get in his mind of how he approached this business. And I did that for a while. And then there was a point where, you know, he's not going to be at my house clicking buttons and doing stuff for me unless I'm giving him money. Um, so I had to kind of branch off on my own. And I figured out through like, my own experience, a couple months or whatever it was, that I was really, really good at the daily bias, and I just had conviction in it, and I would stick to it, and I was comfortable with it. And over 2 months went by, and it was a little over a 90% win rate. And I'm not talking about like, I don't care where the day finishes for my kill zone, right? 9:30 to 12 Eastern. So if I was bullish and that provided a bullish move wherever all the stars align, like that's all I care about is getting in and out of a trade. And even that came from Matt. So there's a lot to be learned from the guy. But I loved the bias, the daily bias. So I was trading on the 1 minute and have taken most of my trades on the 1 minute. But I didn't like the 4 hour. I couldn't do it. It was just too noisy, and it would contradict the daily, and I just had success on the daily. So I've just built that into everything. So what I do is I start with the daily time frame. Let me see if I have it here. 1 second. This will be easier. I think visuals are always good. So I think you can see that now. Comes down to time, economic calendar, and my kill zone. Outside of that, don't care. I put my war paint on, and then bias for me is the daily. So there's only the 4 points that Matt talks about that I care about. And I derive a daily bias. So then I know going into the day, I'm either looking for longs or looking for shorts, and I don't care if they present or they don't. Like, I've become emotionless in that, which is fantastic. And then I drop to the narrative. And this is just, as Matt says, supporting evidence to the bias. So if this completely contradicts the bias, I'm just going to do nothing. You could flip it and counter trade, but like me, it causes too much noise. And there's 252 trading days in a year. I don't know how many candles that is, but it's a lot. There's going to be so many opportunities that I don't need the stress, right? Like, I'm a parent. I got a couple jobs, trading, like, you know, trying to be healthy. There's, you know, friends, so much stuff in our lives going on day in and day out, that trying to flip my bias and redo all my analysis and scramble is just not who I want to be, or how I think I'm going to be successful long term. So I look at the 1 hour, because again, daily to 1 hour to 5 minute, that's just like whatever, right? The gold standard. But the 1 hour is clean, and I like it. And excuse me, through some experience, I just have a good feel for it, and I kind of and again, this doesn't mean like, if I think this, like, I don't care what I think, or, you know, none of that matters. It's just a comfort level for me of knowing like I can conduct my analysis well on these time frames. And I put my POIs on the screen, and then that's that. Here, I'll like, this was this morning, right? The 1 hour. Like, that's all I cared about at the open. Where is it? I had a bullish bias there, and I put this in a little note I had, that I wasn't that jazzed about it because there was nothing to key off of. Like, we displaced, you know, through this bearish FVG showing strength, But like we've been rocketing for a while, but there was nothing to like really frame a trade for me. Like if we would have swept this early, that would have been a nice day for me to be like, I have a bearish bias, and I think we can come back to like maybe in here, or in here. But there just wasn't. So we were kind of floating in no man's land. So I was already like extremely cautious and not trying to get into a trade really. But it gives me direction, right? I'm only looking for longs in this scenario. It was a little bit of a weird example, but I was bullish because of this, but very cautiously bullish. And then dropping to the 1 hour, here's the POI I cared about. Sure, there were some sweeps, but I try to just keep it as simple as possible. I have the daily open on the chart. I must have toggled it off here for the photo, sorry. But you can see that like, we opened up and we created a wick on the top, big wick on the bottom. So like it's already just kind of like the odds of being like major expansion in either direction at this point are already slightly a little bit like eh. But I liked that we were inside of this and respecting this before the open. So that was the only thing I cared about. And then I dropped to the 15-minute because I love this indicator and I love looking at what Asia and London have done because it's incredible how it works. And there's very, very, very few days where these aren't getting toyed around with. So seeing something like this, if I'm bearish, I need this thing to kind of come a lot higher before I'm willing to short because we're way below a lot of lows, way below Asia, and taking out way old external levels that were unmitigated. So like that's just not somewhere I'm looking to short. And I'm just kind of walking through this because we're done with the 2190, but it goes through the process of I'm different from Ash in terms of being daily and hourly, and then I go to the 15-minute just because I like to see what's going on here. And then I'm able to branch off and look at the 5 and the 1 because I've already done my daily bias and I've looked at my higher time frames, the 1 hour and the 15-minute. So now I can approach it and look at from a 5-minute or a 1-minute perspective of, hey, do we have any setups? Recently, I've decided that I'm just going to be executing on the 5-minute. And that has nothing more to do with just how busy my life's gotten recently. And the 1-minute is very fast and you need to be very quick. And it's just the whole realization of just how powerful this model is. Like, I don't need a lot of trades. I just need a consistent model and like my life's going to change. And the 5-minute just gives me so much clarity that I don't care if I'm missing out on 1-minute trades. I can always go back to that, right? Like I've been doing this not even 6 months live, like 16 weeks live is all I've been doing. So when I'm 52 weeks or 56 weeks of live trading and I have all that data to back me up, I can reassess. But that's kind of how where was that in here? That's kind of how that's a little bit different than him. Yeah, the entry is the exact same. And I don't need like I like seeing change in state of delivery, and I use that to draw some fib extensions from. And I'm like paying attention to other things going on, but I don't ever let that crowd me or because there's always going to be conflicting stuff. So everything comes back to the bias. Let me get back to the chat. I've been going for a minute. Yeah, thanks, Arnis. Just trying to be honest. I think that's I'll put this here too. Can view it. So this is on Twitter, but like, this is just a way I, preach what I say I'm going to do or whatever the phrase is. Like I pretty much do the 2190 every day for myself in this Notion. It's public, so you can see it, but I have my playbook in there just like I would in the 2190. I have my journal where all my trades go. Everything I've done is all tracked in here, and when you get into it, all the information's there. So I'm holding myself accountable. Every week, I go through and I complete a weekly report. So I don't know why that's Not letting me in. Okay. Well, anyways, I go through and I just punch everything in. So I just take journaling to like a whole new level. And I built this weekly report out. So I have the week in here. I have trade count, what I did for the week. This is basically just like my playbook, but like going over some other little BS. I throw the playbook in there. Most important is the economic calendar. So on Sunday night, I'm framing what I'm doing for the week. So I'm looking at the calendar and I'm seeing, Monday, very random that or rare that there's a red folder news, but I'm looking at that and I'm not going to execute until after the driver. So I have a plan right here, and like I wake up, get some coffee, and like I know I'm still at my desk at the same time, but I know I'm not doing anything. So I'm emotionless and objective to price because I don't care until after that. And there's going to be opportunity or times where that driver is like 9:30 manipulates, 10 is the deciding factor that capitulates it into one direction, right? Or causes the displacement. But I'm just, for me, like I said, there's enough opportunities and I've seen enough through math that like this is what I do. And then I have a bias screen, the 1 hour, the 15-minute, if I took any executions, or sometimes if there's one that did align, but it was outside my kill zone or whatever reason, right? Like, a lot of the times there'll be something that took off and didn't come back and tap the breaker. I'll put that in there just showing, hey, things are still working. It's just I didn't get an entry. And then I recap the day. So post analysis, I screenshot it right at like 12 Eastern to show like, what did price look like before and what did it look like after. And now I have, like I said, this is 16th. Well, I think this might be the 17th week, whatever it is. I have, hundreds of charts I can go back on now and start to compare and look. And I pick a couple every weekend and I reread them. And I'm just seeing how I was thinking, what I was putting down on paper. I'll find an execution here. That one. Yeah. And then I can go back and I can look at this and see, what did I do right? What did I do wrong? Or what did the structure look like? In this one, speed and price just rips through the breaker. Same here, didn't give an entry, and I was watching ES and didn't take this. So, I make mistakes, but I'm logging these things and I can go back and reference them. And then just at the very bottom, I just have a running numbers. So I started on April 22nd and I just put everything in here. And but that goes back to the 2190 that, yeah, so this will be week 17. I have to finish it after this call. But it's just holding myself accountable. And now if I miss one of these, I'm gonna feel like a real dweeb going back the next week. So like there's no way. I mean, there'd have to be like no internet to not see me put one of these up and I'd mail it in somehow. Like I'm not missing this is what I'm saying. And then I track milestones. So I look at my month, just to put it in perspective. And it's not like April 1st to whatever, right? Like May 1st. It's when did I start? I started on April 22nd. So I do 4 weeks at a time. And that goes back to like just getting started and not like waiting for your New Year's resolution. Like just do it tomorrow. Who cares if it's the 17th and it's not a pretty like start to the month? None of that crap matters. Is what I've learned through experience. But look, 4 weeks I went negative, right? -1. But like, who cares? Like I didn't blow up. I'm in the game, and then I turned it around the next 2 months, drastically, and I've gotten a lot better since starting. And a lot's changed, but without having somewhere to come back and look at this kind of stuff, it makes it a heck of a lot harder. And there's really no way to track my progress in an organized way that I can find. So, no trade. I recorded it and I'm praying that it worked. It looks like it is right now. And I think that's all the questions. So if there's nothing else, I'll cut it off, or I don't know if Matt's here and needs to wrap anything up, but that's all I have. You're welcome. a couple people typing, so I'll wait a little bit. Feel free to message me in whatever Discord too, or DM me if there's questions or you need help with Notion or just, whatever. Like, it helps to talk through stuff from my side too. So I'm an open book and willing to learn from anybody or any experiences as well. Love to hear it, Jesse. Let me know if you need help. I'll cut the stream here, but I'll hang around. So if you got to get going, feel free to leave, but I'll answer any more questions that come in. Have a great weekend, everybody. Challenge starts Monday. That's just short form for Asia and London. I'm just kind of like overly aesthetic, or like to have things nice and clean, so it didn't literally fit on this line here. So I just put AL. And that's just to put that in context, like the supporting evidence. For the 1 hour, I'm just looking at like internal levels, like FEGs, external levels, swing highs and lows. I'm noting SMT, change in stated deliveries, drawing out the fibs. And then, like I said, on that 15-minute chart, I think it's a powerful thing, is just kind of getting familiar and learning how the Asia and London session are shaping up heading into New York. So I look at that as well. You also obviously get 15-minute POIs for the 1 minute if you're trading the 1 minute. That's a good question. Dang, I should have left the recording on for that, but here. Let me go to Moon. I'm answering that. Sorry, I'm struggling to figure out. Let me know if you can see Trading View. Okay. This is how I do it. I split it down the middle, and I have a preference towards NQ. I'll take either, but like I put NQ on the left just because it's always going to be, if there's nothing else that's different, right? Like if there was like SMT today on, I think it was like the 15-minute chart that had right here, I'll pull it down right here. So price came back into these opposing closed candles, came back here into a bullish POI, but there was SMT right here. NQ swept these lows, and then ES showed strength. So being like up here. So in that case, I'm going to be looking to execute on ES, which clearly that was the play today because it even took out the highs up here. But if that's not the case and they're just very similar and there's not much going on, I'm just going to lean towards NQ because it can be, in my experience, quicker, or it just has a little bit more speed, I think. But it's just a preference. I like that about it. But I put NQ over here, I put ES on the right, and I have them both on the daily. So I'll put some like indicators up here on the right side that pull through some silly things, or like this shows that it's on the daily time frame. I initially had like that one indicator everyone uses that's here, but with my split screen, I just didn't want it on every screen, and I don't know. The less the better for me. So I just have it down here. And then I have all these different things built out. So I have my bias, and then I have my 1 hour. So I can, go in and see, same thing, NQ is always on the left because it's the preferred pair. And I just have these two side by side so I can see. And then what I do for the 5 minute and the 1 minute is I'll open, I'll just do this. I'll have, this didn't give an entry, but beautiful. I'll have both of these up in a tab. So I'm looking at the 5. And once I'm done with like I have 4 monitors going. I have one that I'll post the picture in here when this call's done. But I have one monitor that just has like Discord, my Ninja Trader, like so the Replicano trade copier thing going. I have some music on in the background, economic calendar. So just like a utility screen. And then I have one screen that has the daily bias and the 1 hour. And those are just two tabs that I can flip between as simple as this. Whoops. And when I'm done with my daily bias, like I know the direction. I kind of just leave the hourly up. There's times where I'll flip over just to take a peek, like in a situation like this when we're getting close. But I'm normally just leaving the hourly up. So like now I got 2 monitors I don't have to worry about. And then the other 2, I leave the 15-minute one up specifically on its own screen. So I have the hourly, the 15, and then on my main screen, which is the one you're looking at, I'll have 3 tabs going up top. I'll have something set up like this that's got 5 minute on both sides. I'll have another tab that's got 1 minute on both sides. So I can just kind of flip between and see if there's anything going on either of those. And then I have a separate tab that's just one big screen. I call it the hunting screen. And that's where I'm logged in on TradingView and I'm taking a trade. So really I'm only looking at the hourly, the 15, and just kind of seeing what that's doing. And then I'm flipping between the others very calmly, right? Like I'm not trying to do too much. It sounds like a lot of stuff I just spit out, but it's really just having it all up and doing the analysis before the session starts so I know what I'm looking for. And then I'm not really like freaking out during the day or changing too much. The 15 can be a little, like we started to move up pretty nicely. And if you had some stuff marked out, you might need to be readjusting down in here and getting new levels. But that's why I leave the 15 and the 1 on their own screen so I can kind of be up to speed on, I'm not missing SMTs at key levels and things like that. With that said, I didn't trade today just because I kind of already got into that, but I didn't need to, was the bottom line. Yeah, Moon, let me know if there's any other questions. Like I'll help however I can with that. Because once it's set up and you get a little bit used to it, it's smooth. Brainy, what do you mean by that? Are you talking about on the 15-minute here? The lines you see? It's called ICT Kill Zones and Pivots by this TFO guy. And I think it does a lot more, but I've just put on Asia and London. I've ticked off everything else because the way I trade, I only care about seeing what those two have done. And I just have the colors I know what the sessions are, but I'm basically just looking for, is there going to be an S&D profile or how's that going to play out? But yeah, it's nice because it paints it. You can change the color. So you can have this one be red and this one be blue. But just mess around with the actual indicator because it will, I don't know if this will let me. Yeah. You can kind of make it however you want it. When logged in with Tradevate on a TradingView tab, if you forget to log out, it will be logged in every tab. So I don't even log into Tradevate. I use them, but even my cash account that's on Tradevate, I don't log into it. I just come down here and I log into TradingView with like my what's it called? prop firm account, like my funded futures or whatever, I use that login. And then I have NinjaTrader's Replicanto, which is the trade copier. So I only have to log in one time, and then I have that set up separately that it's kind of syncing or logging me into everything else. So then I'm just taking a trade on TradingView, and it's getting copied across everything. Like my cash account, I have like a different ratio than the props. So like it's going to take more contracts, and you can really get ticky dotty with it. And I have a video that I did with Matt that's in I think it's on the Whoop, like in the premium Discord, that walks through. And I have like a PDF and everything you can look at to learn exactly how to use Replicano and set it up properly. But I don't know what to do about being logged into Tradeovate and TradingView. I know they have a weird thing now where you can only be on like one machine and stuff. So if you're using like a VPS on a Mac and you're also on your PC, like it's going to be kicking you in and out of stuff. So recently it's gotten a little weird. But to wrap that up, maybe I'll like post on Twitter or something and just I'll screen grab what you said and just see if anyone has a solution. Because I work with a couple of cool people who are pretty tech savvy. So let me just screen grab that now so I don't forget. And then I'll follow up with you. Okay. Yeah, I only trade ES and NQ. I think there's, it's like I said, this is the conclusion of my 17th week, so I'm not going to rush into it. I only use my funded futures to I know people trade 50 different accounts, and I think that's great, but I haven't been doing this long enough to care to rush into anything. I'm just going to focus on my 3 accounts and my cash account, and same thing with the pairs. I don't need to overcomplicate it. People make a living off just trading ES, but I think I'm really loving the 5-minute, and I think I'm always planning for the future. So if I can put up a year of fantastic results and I'm got a good system down, I wouldn't be opposed to looking at either FX, but futures FX, right? Or crude or gold but I'm in no way even thinking about implementing that now. But the idea of having a quad screen and just having the analysis done and just looking for the clean setups crossed my mind. But that's more of a Jason Shapiro style. We've been doing it for decades, and you can handle that. I don't look at the previous day high and low unless I guess this would be the previous day high, right? So unless it's a swing or something that's directly of interest, but I wouldn't I guess if we were trading on this day here, I have this line. And just pretend all this price wasn't here. If we were on this day, I might be looking at this previous day high only because I'm really just looking at the bearish FEG. So I don't really get too caught up in that. I know I think AM Trades is a big guy when it comes to his weekly profiles and daily stuff, but that level for me and what I'm doing, it just doesn't, not that it doesn't fit, but I just don't need it. I think is it's just the less I can do and master that, the better. Yep, I only trade 9:30 to 12, and I'm starting to come around to just pinching it off a little even earlier too, because like today there was an amazing afternoon run. But I'm noticing just through experience that for me and what I like, catching something in that first 30, 40 hour-ish range and then catching that move, that's all I really need to be in and out of a trade that aligns with what I'm doing. And what I mean is pretend we're here. None of this was here. Now this was a historic day, right? Moved the most points in history, but pretend that didn't happen. But like in this scenario, going into the next day, like I'm going to have a bearish bias, and I'm going to be, waiting for price to be in this bearish imbalance and be looking for shorts. So kick this one. So like that. I mean, getting in here, dropping to the hourly, looking at the market structure, and then watching the 5-minute or whatever time frame, just this little, like right in that little box that I just drew, is going to be enough of a move probably, right? Like on a 5-minute or especially a 1-minute chart. So all I need is that little kick out of there, and I'm good, and I'm done for the day. So I don't need to know what the whole candle's doing or how everything's going to play out. Time frame. Are you talking about, I don't know what's going on with these charts. Are you talking about this, like how there's just a 15-minute down here? Yeah, that took me forever. I couldn't find that because everyone uses the what is that one called? Like the AFG watermark or something like that. But I couldn't like tweak that one to figure it out. So it is watermark light. Let me see. Whoops. Let me just make sure this is actually it. Yeah, that's the one. So if I turn off the one I have, and then the settings that I have for it, because like I think again it comes with like more BS. Oh no, this one was clean. There's a lot of watermarks, so make sure it's the one by JD. And then you can just change like, you can make it like huge or whatever. Change it. You can put it anywhere else, but and if you're splitting your screen and you want it on both, make sure you add it to both. But I only have it here because I only want it in this bottom right corner. No problem. Well, if that's it, I'm going to peel out and wrap up my weekly report and enjoy a weekend before we start this challenge. So like I said, DM me or jump in the 2190 over in the premium, and everything's already built out there. But if you're in there already and your name's not on the list, just make sure you let me know and I can build out a section for you so we're ready to go. But until next time, thank you very much. Enjoy your weekend.